Good afternoon. This is JoyNews Room. I'm Noella Kariniali. Top stories this hour. National Communications Authority to meet MultiChoice Ghana at a stakeholder committee on Monday regarding Communications Minister Sam George's call for DSTV prices to go down. Also, President John Dramani Mahama announces new system to reward the cleanest district in the country.
I've asked the minister to put in a system of awards for the cleanest districts.
Details as he also asked traditional leaders to help save the environment.
I am in favor of restoring some of the authority back to chiefs, especially in respect of our environment and sanitation.
Also, committee of inquiry needed to investigate the Gbenyiri feud that's left more than 30 dead.
I think we need a committee of inquiry into a very serious matter of national importance that people are dying.
We have more from former Attorney General Ni Ayikwe Otu and a security analyst. And also, what awaits the governing National Democratic Congress's new Tamale Central parliamentary candidate, Professor Ali Diseidu. We speak to a political scientist. These plus other stories make up JoyNews Room for today. Do stay for details. And we begin with our top story. And the National Communications Authority says it has received from MultiChoice Ghana a response to the notice of intention to suspend their authorization and request for their pricing model. A statement from the NCA reads, and I have excerpts of it right here. It says, the National Communications Authority, NCA, has received from MultiChoice Ghana its response to the notice of intention to suspend their authorization and request for their pricing model. Now, while the authority reviews their submission, there have been further engagement with MultiChoice Ghana regarding its public statement dated 5th September 2025, and the following clarifications have been obtained. 1. MultiChoice Ghana agrees with the directive from the Honorable Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations for the establishment of a stakeholder committee to evaluate DSTV pricing in Ghana, and that they intend to fully participate in this work. The outcome of the stakeholder committee would be determined at the end of its work. And 3, MultiChoice has confirmed that it will respect due process and the laws of Ghana and its people. The first meeting of the stakeholder committee shall be held on Monday, 8th September 2025, and the authority shall provide further updates on this matter in due course. Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has announced a new system to reward the cleanest district in the country. Now, the initiative is part of efforts to strengthen enforcement of sanitation laws and promote good environmental practices. Speaking at the relaunch of the National Sanitation Day initiative, the president touted his government achievement in the environmental sector, insisting he's on course in safeguarding the space.
But they won't abdicate the responsibility of the district administrations in terms of sanitation. When my government came, we had a situation where more than 50% of the district assembly's common fund was being spent here in Accra at the District Assembly Common Fund Administrator's Office. And so sufficient money was not going to the districts to be able to carry out their obligations. Now, MMDCs, you have no excuse. I directed that 80% of money due to the District Assembly's Common Fund must go directly to the MMDCs. And so you can't tell me you have an excuse of lack of resources. You have the resources, and if you remember when we were inaugurating you, I told the local government minister to tell you that one of your key performance indicators is the cleanliness of your district. It is your #1 KPI. And so when we come to assess and evaluate your performance, we're going to look at how you handle sanitation as one of the key performance indicators. I'll hold the DCs responsible for your districts, but it will not only be for sanctions and punishment, it will also be for encouragement. I've asked the minister to put in a system of awards for the cleanest districts. And the cleanest districts will get very handsome awards. And so he's going to put it together and bring a report to cabinet, will approve it, and every year we'll make provision.
Now, the president also appealed to traditional land and religious leaders to encourage their followers to embrace and support the National Sanitation Day.
Our chiefs were the leaders when it comes to volunteerism and communal labor and cleanliness. Unfortunately, with independence, new constitutions and all that, the authority of the chiefs has been eroded in terms of the power that they can exercise within their traditional areas. I am in favor of restoring some of the authority back to chiefs, especially in respect of our environment and sanitation. We have a national constitutional review process ongoing, and in that process, some amendments will be done to the Constitution. Issues dealing with chieftaincy are in Chapter 22 of the 1992 Constitution, and I think that the National House of Chiefs and all the Regional House of Chiefs must look at that chapter properly so that we can bring amendments that will reinstate some of the powers of the chiefs. I believe that in every community there's a chief. And so if in every community there's a chief, we can put a sanitation court in the palace of the chief. So that working together with the district assembly, people who are persistent polluters will be brought to those sanitation courts, and they'll be given the sanctions that they deserve, so that we can have cleaner communities, cleaner cities, and cleaner towns.
Now let's engage a local governance analyst on this story, and Andrew Bediako joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. Now, the president appealed to traditional and religious leaders to support National Sanitation Day. And so I want to ask you how crucial community leadership is, and how can our traditional and religious leaders be better engaged to mobilize community participation?
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you for having me. I think it's a good call. When you get to these areas, especially in our communities, you see that some of the chiefs are very powerful. And when they take decisions, you refuse to abide by those decisions, they have sanctions. And when they sanction you, it goes a long way to affect you directly or indirectly. So when we have these chiefs coming together as assisting the assemblies, sometimes I quite remember there is a community that these operators of what we call pragya in our local balance, they were instructed not to patrol some or use some roads in those communities. Assembly came out with those directives, but it never worked.
No.
But when the chief came in, it worked perfectly because the people abide by the directives of the chief. You see, but because of the nature of our politics, we are so partisan to the level that when the issue is coming from the political head, it becomes very challenging. Then it tends to be MPP NDC matter. But when the chiefs lead it, definitely it is not political anymore. And I think that, as the president said, I agree with him. If we are able to involve the chiefs in some of these activities, I think a lot of people will abide by it. Because failure to abide by it, definitely the chief of that community will come out with sanctions and nobody will look at it from any political point of view. But when the political head, especially MCA or DC, come out with some of these directives, sometimes it might be that it is a decision by a whole institution, but people will always select the leader, being the MC or the DC, and they put blame on because of the partisan nature that we have in Ghana. So I think if we have a collaborative effort or the collaborative core, as the president is saying, I think it will go a long way to help to help in these communities.
We apologize for that break in transmission. We've been experiencing some technical challenges. But before that break, we were speaking to Mr. Andrew Bediako, who is a local governance analyst, and we're speaking to him on the call President Mahama is making on traditional and religious leaders to be a part and play their part in making sure that our environment is clean. Mr. Andrew, you were making a point before we went on a break. Can you kindly rehash that point?
Thank you very much, my sister. What I was saying is that I support the call by the president to involve our local authorities, the traditional authorities in sanitation course, as is mentioned. Because when chiefs in our community, they are very respected people. When they take such decisions, a lot of people abide by them. So when they are involved together with the assemblies, as I said, this is a collaborative effort. It's not going to be something that will be done by only the assemblies, but rather the chiefs are involved. And when that call comes and the chiefs are involved, definitely it's going to go a long way to help have a proper sanitation issues resolved at the local level.
And what do you also make of the president's call for proper sanitation practices should be a part of the KPIs of our MMDCEs? How do you think that will work out?
I think it will work out. Already it is in existence. Only that people are not paying much attention to it because assemblies do what we call, I normally call it exams. Every year, assemblies are expected to do assessment, and the kind of assessment that the assemblies do, definitely we have sanitation issues as part of it. But maybe now the president is saying we should highlight it to a level that everybody will get to know that this is the key indicator, because one of the key indicators of that assessment that is done at the assembly level every year, sanitation issues are part of it. But only that people are not paying much attention to it. That's why maybe some are not aware. But for me, what I know is that sanitation issues are part of the assessment that assemblies go through every year.
And finally, while government is rolling out, these interventions, what practical role should citizens play, and how can local authorities, for instance, hold the public accountable to make sanitation campaigns truly impactful?
Education, education, education. Education is the way. That's the key point. Because you see, a lot of people already aware about some of these things, but because we are not rehashing them, we are not reminding them day in and day out. Because when you get to the assemblies, they also have bylaws. The bylaws, apart from the national laws on sanitation. The bylaws of the assemblies also take into consideration some of these issues that happens at the local level. But people are not punished. The first thing that the assembly has to continue to do the education, but we are looking at the sustainability. If we are able to sustain it as the president has started, this is not the first time we are engaging in this. The previous administration also introduced the National Sanitation Day, and I think even during President Mills' time, it was there, National Sanitation Day, every month. And before you realize, we all go back to sleep. The previous government, the MPP government, also introduced it. And initially, it will start, it will work very well. But if we are able to sustain it, I think it's going to happen. It is going to help a lot.
And what do you think? What do you think accounts for that problem, not being able to sustain it?
Yeah, Ghanaians, as usual. You see, some of these activities, if the assemblies are involved all the time, it comes with cost. It comes with cost because it involves a lot of money. Some places you need to go and procure dustbins. Some places we have to empty these. So every Saturday, if you get to the assemblies that partook in the exercise yesterday, you go and find out and you see the budget that accrued at the local level. So it gets to a point, if the assemblies are cash-strapped, it becomes very difficult for them to sustain it. Because even some of the material that they will use, the tools that they will use for the clean-up exercise, definitely you need to procure them, you need to buy them. So when the assemblies are cash-strapped, as the president said, currently, the way and manner the assemblies are being resourced, I am very happy about it because the other time, we even said it on your radio, on your TV, that the assemblies, if we are committed to send monies that are due the assemblies to the assemblies, it will go a long way to help them. And my checks, the first quarter and the second quarter that the government has released to the assemblies, very substantial. If you compare to what the MPP government period, as President said, most of the monies were kept in Accra for other purposes and all those kind of things. But this time, they have sent the monies to the assemblies, and I think, as the president said, money should not be the problem now, as he said. And even the percentage that the guidelines that they sent to the assemblies when the money was transferred to them, the guidelines were clear. Sanitation part is there. It is part of the guidelines. So you can't tell me there is no money, that's why you are on it. So if the government continue to send these monies to the assemblies will also have no issues that they can continue. So I think sustainability is the key point. And the first point, as I said, is education. We must always remind ourselves, we must always talk to the people, we must always engage the people together with the traditional authority.
Right, Mr. Andrew Bediako, thank you so much for engaging with us this afternoon. Andrew Bediako is a local governance analyst, and he's been speaking on the president's call to involve a lot of religious and traditional leaders in the fight to have our environment clean. Now, away from that, political scientist Professor Ali Diseidu is optimistic his victory in the Tamale Central primary of the governing National Democratic Congress will bring development to the area. Now, he pulled more than 800 of the 1,500 votes cast, beating 11 others to the slot, and he spoke to journalists after the elections.
First of all, I want to pray for our departed MP, Honorable Murtala Mohammed, and he rests in perfect peace. Second, I want to acknowledge the role played by the NDC as a party and the representative from the national, regional, and constituency level. Second, I want to thank the National Commission, the security agencies, and then the media. And finally, I want to thank my co-aspirants. They have actually conducted this campaign in a very rigorous manner. They have been very humble in the way they campaigned, very generous in the statements they made, and very reconciliatory, even where people believe they have done things that wasn't deserved. So I think the way we have started, it is important that we continue with this tone of reconciliation, and then we work together as a party to be able to bring the seat for the NDC.
Now, joining us to develop the story further is Dr. Gbensuglo Alidu Bukari, who is the head of Department of Political Science at the University of Development Studies. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us. Now, Professor Alidu Seidu's overwhelming victory in such a crowded primary shows strong support. What does this result tell us about the political dynamics, especially within the NDC in Tamale Central? Hello,
Good
Prof.
afternoon to your listener. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yes, so thank you for having me, and good afternoon to you and to your listeners. Yeah, so this is a collective effort of the NDC moving forward so long as 2028 election is concerned. So they just ended by-election in Akotia, and yesterday victory of the NDC is a testimony to the foundation and collective effort of NDC putting all their effort together and then towards 2028.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was asking you that particularly in Tamale Central, what does Professor Alidu's win tell us about the dynamics of the NDC and your politics?
It tells us a unity of purpose of NDC in Tamale Central constituency. So yesterday, the announcement of the victory of Professor Seidu Alidu and his contenders, I think you can see the display of maturity and support behind him. That tells us that the party is actually together, and it's not as if you fight or fight. It's a collective effort, and NDC and the democracy won yesterday.
Right, now let's look at the legacy of the late Murtala Muhammad, who Professor Alidu Seidu is succeeding. Now, he was widely regarded as a very good MP, loved by his people. And so, to what extent will Professor Seidu be under pressure to continue his legacy, and how might that, shape his political strategy?
Thank you for this. Seidu is a very good academic and an experienced administrator. He's just, don't forget that he's just the past head of the Department of Political Science of the University of Ghana for 4 years. So being a head of the department tells you the story. And then recently, the president appointed him as executive secretary. I think it's because of this testimony that he got that opportunity. And so I think he has what it takes to become an MP. And as it stands now, he's the presumptive MP of Tamale Central. I think 30th of September is just a confirmation. And I believe blending the academic experience and that of administrative role that he played as a head of department and of course as a lecturer, and he has also consulted widely across the length and breadth of the globe. And so I think I have no doubt in his capacity and ability to deliver to the people and deliver both public and private goods to the people of Tamale Central as Murtala was doing. Murtala was a very good gentleman, and he was just doing that. I think Alidu would put his foot on ground and even do far better than I must say. Of course, you always want to do better than your predecessor, and I believe that he has what it takes to do that.
And what do you think would be some of the expectations from him by the people?
Of course, this is someone coming from academia. First of all, he has no political exposure, even though you may describe him is a very good administrative. So he's coming for the first time. People want him to show that political maturity, and I'm sure he has people to advise him what to do. And he has just started doing that. I think I'm told this morning he has already started getting in touch with people he contested with. That is a show of display and maturity. And so people expect him to continue the good work of Murtala as we discussed earlier. And I believe Seidu has what it takes to do that, and he has just started.
Fair point. But again, how much of his success and future influence depends on local constituency work, and how much also depends on the broader fortunes of the NDC ahead of the general elections?
That is a very good question. I'm not too sure coming 2028. Of course, he will still have to put himself up for contest. But I must say that for this particular primary that was just held yesterday, Seidu was an establishment candidate. So you can see the results. The former MC, he did a very fantastic job for putting up that fight. Gathering 536 votes, it tells a story. So that means that Seidu will have to tighten his belt very well. Coming back, 2027 to contest for re-election to meet his contender in 2028 will have a huge task to cross. And I'm sure winning this election, of course, he was the establishment candidate. It was very obvious he was going to win. And then I can say that coming 2028, the party will have to put out structures, and he said himself will have to work very hard so that he can get that re-election and support base from the people of Tamale Central.
And finally, before I let you go, and again on his win, does it, reflect a generational or ideological shift within the NDC? You know how sometimes when a new person wins in a constituency like that, it probably means something is happening in that constituency and in the party as well. Do you think there's some sort of shift going on?
Well, like I said, this is someone coming from academia. He may not be well versed with social, of course, as a political scientist, social democracy is something we learn. But I think there's not that much shift because it's an internal contest. If you had spoken about maybe an MPP winning that seat from NDC, that is where we would have seen a political shift. But this is just an internal contest. So it's the same social democracy of NDC that has, social democracy NDC has adopted. I believe Seydou is a social democrat himself.
So you think
the only difference is that he's blending academic with that of political experience now. From now to the next 3 or 4 years, he will want to be a full-time politician, and I think we'll see that reflecting him.
So you think this was purely based on his personality and person? Hi, Prof.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, my goodness.
Prof, I can hear you. Hello, Prof. Okay, we're struggling to reconnect with Professor Gbenyiri. But let's move away from that story and bring you another on former Attorney General Ni Ayikoi-Otu, who has called for the establishment of a committee of inquiry to investigate the Gbenyiri feud, which has so far claimed 31 lives and displaced about 48,000 people. Now, speaking on JoyNews' news file on Saturday, September 6, Mr. Otu stressed that the conflict is a serious national issue requiring urgent attention.
It's not that simple.
Right.
It's just the chief's son says, please, you can't get here because this is not part of what was sold to you. Where did the others come into the fray? Why? Somebody sitting on his motorbike to go and check something and he shot. He was not part. So why all the displacement? What is happening there? I think we need a committee of inquiry into a very serious matter of national importance, that people are dying. And as you rightly pointed out, refugees are being created left and right. And like all the others have said, it will affect the, the food and production in the area. So we just cannot. And of course, where police cannot help, we are told that the military should be brought in. So we need to bring it down, whatever it is that is happening there. I mean, what firepower do they have there? Some single barrel, guns and the rest. So let's move in and make sure that this thing is calmed quickly, and then we set up a committee of inquiry to go into the matter. And if there are chieftaincy and land issues, we deal with them once and for all.
Now, let's explore this further with security consultant Richard Commodore. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us. Now, I'm sure you've heard about former Attorney General Ayikoi-Otu's call. What do you make of it?
Definitely, investigation is an important aspect of what we do as law enforcement officers. It helps us to know the root cause and what triggered the immediate cause. My understanding is that just yesterday, IGP Yohonu and the CDS and the army chiefs were at the particular area where the displacements were taking place. The BNI director has been there. The police operation team has been there. My understanding is that those investigations have been done and they have the results at their fingertips. To the extent that government sent the Minister of Interior into the area to speak to the Yagbon Ra, they might have picked certain things that helps them to know exactly what to do. But investigation into it is a very good thing, and we will need the results as quickly as possible. But I can say to the fact that since the day the conflict started and people were being displaced, The security agencies have done the investigations and they have it at their beck and call.
A security consultant in person as yourself, what intelligence are you picking on the ground regarding this issue?
Definitely, it's back to what has always befallen us as a nation: land administration, land ownership, and land entitlement. Until we are able to deal with it properly, we will continue to have some of these issues affecting us. The president just spoke about giving some power to the chiefs. We have passed the Chieftaincy Act. It did not help us. We have passed the Land Entitlement Act. It did not help us. I think cosmopolitan democracy and what we used to do as traditionalists or as part of our traditional culture post-independence to where we are now, we will need a sober reflection and see if we could merge it, because the cracks in there has created a problem for us that today's democracy is not ready and able to resolve, and that is where we are.
Right, and for the committee that hopefully will be formed, what would you say should be their scope of work?
Now, I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think government would want to form a committee of inquiry at a national level to look into this matter. The issues are clear. What led to the crash is clear. What the fundamental issues are clear. It's a land ownership, land entitlement, and land administration. As the police walk into the area, the criminals who took advantage of the vulnerabilities and created the displacement issues have fled the area. Where our people are in Cote d'Ivoire, the police special forces have gotten there and have spoken to them. What you have now is how prepared we are as a nation to deal with a crisis such as this. I'm talking about the role of NADMO, I'm talking about the role of gender ministry, and I'm talking about other related NGOs who might have funding to support such incidences. But if Gbenyiri government set an inquiry at the highest level, the root causes are clear and everybody knows it, and it wouldn't serve any other purpose rather than what the security agencies know as of today.
Right. Now, with chieftaincy and land disputes, they really aren't new to succeeding governments. As governments come and go, we always would hear of, incidences like these. What would you say should be our way of navigating this issue to ensure that a lot of these effects of them are minimized?
No, number one, documentation has always been an issue. Number two, the administration of land issues in this country has always been an issue. We need to be bold and confront it. Then people not using politics as basis to bastardize other people. That has been some of the core issues that has led to some of this land ownership and land disputes, right from Accra to the north to many other places. That has always been the case. If we are bold enough to say who owns this land, let's register the land in accordance with the history and what is the prehistorical background to the ownership of this land, we will be fine. But people give out land, then people want to take more than what has been given to them. People bought lands. Once they begin to develop the land, some other people comes out to say, these lands were not given to you. Then people do not own the land at all, but they use politics to get into the area to bastardize everybody and begin to create confusion. As a nation, we will need to be bold about it, and we will need to speak the truth, and we will need to take the criminals within the land entitlement environment by the horn, and we will be fine. Other than that, these elements are massing up weapons, and they can displace any community any day, anytime.
And how about the bit of arms, going into the hands of wrong people and civilians? How do you think we should navigate that?
I have always been of the view that there are people in this country whose legitimate business is to import arms into this country. There has to be an enhanced due diligence in that particular area. Before you own a gun, there has to be a comprehensive background checks on you, and that qualifies who owns a gun and who doesn't own a gun. Then the registration of arms in this country. Before we come to monitoring of the small manufacturers in this country, they have good capacity and they are moving those arms left and right. We have not been bold in that area. We have played and hide and seek in that area. We have treated people who kill people with arms with kicks grow. When you shoot somebody and kill the person, you are a murderer and you have committed a heinous crime. Why don't we arrest those people and punish them? Because I know with the many years I have been in this area that Non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. We lack the motivation as a nation to punish people who flout our laws. And until we are bold in doing that, these are some of the results we are going to get. And guns has become a major issue for us, and it can create instability at other places.
I appreciate your time here, Richard. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And Richard Komodo is a security consultant, and he's been speaking to us on the Gbenyiri feud. We'll take a break here. This is Joy Newsroom. We're back with more. You're welcome back to Joy Newsroom with me, Noella Karanyali. Now, General Secretary of the governing National Democratic Congress, Fifi Kwete, is asking the Attorney General not to yield to pressure to hurriedly prosecute persons found culpable in the operation to recover all loot. Now, his opinion is in response to the Attorney General Dominic Ayene's confession of pressure. Mr. Kwete was speaking at the 5th Annual Conference of the NDC Lawyers Association, from where Nanaya Ojima reports.
Secretary of the NDC in comparing demand for prosecution of corrupt officials of the previous administration explained yielding to similar pressure for universal cry for blood under the PNDC resulted in some excesses. According to him, many hard enemies of the political party were part of persons calling for accountability during the time. Mr. Fifi Kwete fears the political gains of the party may be eroded if they chart the same path with oral.
But if there's a group that needs to also appreciate that things must be done well, then what is worth doing is worth doing well. It should be us, the NDC. Why? Because we were founded also through the same aura. The aura back in 1979. And what was the aura at the time? It was called Let the Blood Flow. That's really what it was. It's that same passionate quest for blood to flow. Now the blood flow doesn't mean killing or taking people by the firing squad, but making sure people are punished. Now, when there was a cry for the blood to flow in 1979, part of the reason why our party has had difficulty in many parts of Ghana, including here in Ashanti region, was because the leader of that uprising tried very hard to ensure that things were done patiently. But there was so much universal cry for blood that there was a moment where literally they let go. And by letting go, not everything was done.
Fifi Kwete says due diligence must be done in prosecuting persons found to have breached the law.
If we are talking about recent, it simply means this time around, when the opportunity comes, let's make sure we do it and do it well. No more simply going for blood for the sake of blood, but going for blood when truly blood needs to flow. It can no more be what happened in 1979. It cannot be. If it's to be done, it must be done well. And to be done well means it has to be thoroughly done, proper due diligence. The job must be properly done.
The General Secretary stated the party has picked intelligence of attempts by party members to cut deals with persons on the list of prosecution by the government.
Many among us, in spite of the fact that please and the pressure coming from the public that the things have to be done properly, punishment must be exacted, and things have to be done. Some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted. Some among us are trying to cut deals. Some are becoming conduits through whom pressure is being brought to bear on people who are supposed to do what is right. I'm not mentioning names. A time may come where we may have to. A word to the wise.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, wants the lawyers to continue offering their services to the party. For JoyNews, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
Now, Chief of Staff Julius Debra has charged the Conference of Envoys and Heads of Ghanaian missions abroad to engage in economic diplomacy that will deliver practical gains to the development of the country. Speaking at a dinner and award ceremony organized at the end of a week-long Heads of Mission Conference and orientation program for newly appointed envoys, Julius Debra gave a vivid roadmap to Ghanaian diplomats on how they could give further boost to President Mahama's reset agenda.
After a week of engagements at the Heads of Mission Conference and Orientation Program for newly appointed envoys, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs held a dinner in honor of past and present diplomats who served in various capacities to promote the country's interest. In his address to the gathering, Chief of Staff Julius Debra urged newly appointed envoys to emulate the remarkable service of some outstanding envoys and elderly statesmen.
Distinguished envoys, this framework demands strategic focus and dedication from every one of you representing Ghana abroad. Your role in translating this vision into tangible benefits for our citizens is paramount. I have no doubt that this joint event, the Conference of Heads of Nations and the orientation of newly appointed envoys, has enabled our participants to exchange knowledge and ideas that will inure to the benefit of our esteemed diplomatic service and bring practical gains to the good people of Ghana. A team spirit and synergy that have been built over the 5-day training period will enable you to work in unison in our collective quest towards national building.
Senegal's Foreign Minister Yassim Fall, who joined the gathering of Ghanaian diplomats, underscored the importance of regional integration, an area she believes Ghana and Senegal have shown leadership.
Ghana and Senegal have been leaders in Africa in terms of African union, African solidarity, Pan-Africanism, and lending a hand to other African countries. Both presidents have been recently elected, and since they have been elected, we have seen the very important dent they have put in ECOWAS. Our political and diplomatic exchanges, recently illustrated by regional high-level visits by both presidencies, testify to the vitality of our partnership. However, like my president said to his brother, we should know that the potential of our economic relations remain underexploited.
Later this month, on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly, Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama is expected to lead a summit on reparatory justice with other African leaders.
Fortunately, we are collaborating on reparations, and I want to use this opportunity to commend the two presidents. They are going to be hosting a very important side event on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly on reparations. And we are looking forward to a very successful event as the AU champions reparations from 2026 to 2036, with our president as the champion, with his brother President Faye supporting him. We are determined that finally we shall get justice and we shall have some closure on this matter.
The end of the week-long event is set to open a new era for Ghanaian envoys who have now signed onto a new KPI outdoored by President John Dramani Mahama. Blessed Ogan's report for JoyNews, Accra.
Now, a rise in typhoid cases driven by open defecation contaminating the Volta Lake has prompted urgent calls for action from the Bono East regional leadership. Regional Minister Francis Owusu-Entwi at a meeting at the Regional Coordinating Council demanded for intensified public sensitization to combat the health hazard plaguing the Eastern District. And Asabit has more.
The Bono East Regional Minister Francis Owusu-Entwi has raised the alarm. Open defecation along the Volta Lake is contaminating the water, leading to a sharp rise in typhoid cases, particularly in the districts of Sini East, Sini West, Pro East and Pro West. The minister made these revelations during a meeting with regional leaders at the Regional Coordinating Council in Techiman.
To improve on our water and sanitation, and the issue has to do with the voter leak zone where people defecate. So it has resulted in high typhoid rate when you go to Bono East, Bono West, Sunny East, and Sunny West.
The minister's call for action highlights the critical need for improved water, sanitation, and health services, a fundamental building block for development that the region is struggling with.
Is that we have to intensify education so that the people along the voter lake will desist from defecating into the voter lake. So immediately after this section, we are going to have a section which will call the ferry operators around the area to engage them so that they desist from all these activities.
But while the focus is on immediate health concerns, the regional administration is also looking to the future, and that future is being built right here in Techiman. During a previous visit, President John Dramani Mahama promised the construction of a new technical university for Techiman. Today, the minister confirmed that plans are far advanced to turn that promise into a reality.
Where we have challenge as a region is the tertiary. We have all the private schools around. We have Valley View and Anglican University, but we don't have private university. So the government assured us of getting us one university, that is the technical university in Techiman here. So we are about to complete with the documentation. So immediately after the documentation, the team will come around for the necessary processes to be done. So we are on course.
The university aims to equip the youth with practical skills directly feeding into the local economy and creating a more skilled workforce. Francis Osuantwi says the region will benefit in diverse ways.
In the absence of this university, you have to travel to Kumasi or any other region before you can access education. But with this coming closer to the people, one, it is going to enhance their financial position, and two, the risk aspect. From here to Kumasi, look at the distance, so it is going to reduce risk in the region.
He also charged the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to improve their locally generated funds to help provide the necessary infrastructure to meet the needs of the local people.
The other thematic area that we also reviewed has to do with our IGF. If we are able to increase revenue, it means that we can do our own project. We will not wait for common fund projects to come. Internally, we can do our own projects.
So the story of the Bono East region is one of two stark realities: the urgent need to address basic sanitation and health today, and the ambitious drive to build a brighter, more educated tomorrow. The challenge for leaders here will be to manage both fronts simultaneously. For JoyNews, Anna Sabit reporting.
Now, in the community of Akwachiri here in the Greater Accra region, children still struggle to learn because they lack proper classrooms. The community is appealing for a 6-unit classroom block to enhance academic work in the area. Mama V. Savakote has more.
Facility is expected to reduce preventable deaths, provide safer conditions for childbirth, and give children access to better health care from infancy. At the commissioning, African Director of Engage Now Africa, Cecilia Amankwa, underscored the importance of the facility, describing it as an investment in the very foundation of.
For years, pupils of Akwachiri MA Basic School studied under a makeshift pavilion until a rainstorm brought it down, leaving them stranded. In response, the Member of Parliament, Sedem Afenyo, mobilized support from Ghanaians to put up the new block for junior high school pupils. Speaking at the commissioning of a 3-unit classroom block, he appealed to government and corporate Ghana to help build an additional 6-unit classroom block for the primary school children.
Previously, we were told that Get Fund was going to provide a 6-unit classroom block. Unfortunately, the 3-unit classroom block, which is supposed to be the JSS block, is ready, but we don't have a primary school. So we are appealing to corporate Ghana, those institutions that can support the people of Akwachiri, to build a 6-unit classroom block to help these our little children. They need a place to study. We are all Ghanaians. If God has blessed you to have so much, you should impact into society. And coming to build a 6-unit classroom block for the people of Akwatre is a way of impacting into society.
Gan West MCE John Desmond Sowanai commended the MP for keeping his promise.
We must particularly acknowledge the role of our current Member of Parliament, Honorable Sedem Kweku Afenyo, who did not only visit regularly to assess the situation, but also made a firm commitment to ensure Akwatre MA Basic School had a permanent structure. Today, we are witnesses to the fulfillment of that promise.
The Municipal Education Director, Victor Noiteria, also lauded the intervention.
After the building was raised down by the storm, promises came that they will construct a 6-unit classroom block, which never saw the light of day. So we are very indeed grateful to the Microcredit Association of Ghana for what they have done to us. We believe at least the learners will have a place to sit and learn in an environment that is conducive for teaching and learning.
The ceremony ended with a joyful dance by a pupil, symbolizing a fresh start for children who now have a safe space to learn. Mamavi Sefakote's report, read to you.
And on that note, that's it for Joy Newsroom. You should log on to myjoyonline.com for more of our local and international stories. I'm Noella Karen Yali. Enjoy the rest of our programming. Good afternoon.